Hi, my name is Gulshan Devaiah and welcome to Crew Cut. I'm here today with Amritpal Singh, who's an action director. Amritpal has been part of projects such as Attack, Mukkabaz, Extraction, Killer Soup, Poacher, Saas, Bahu or Flamingo. The list goes on. Great projects, great line of projects, and I'm really looking forward to having this conversation.
First of all, hello everyone. My name is Amritpal Singh. I'm an action director. I am from a small town in Punjab called Gurdaspur. I was born and brought up there. I completed my graduation there and then I shifted to Bombay. The rest of the journey we'll explore as the interview goes by.
So, why did you want to be an action director?
So I have a legacy behind my name. I belong to a stunt family. My father, late Sardar Manjeet Singh, he was a stuntman. He used to do all the stunts for Mr. Bachchan. This is something that is maybe in my blood because by the time I was born, he was already a legendary stuntman. So at that time when people used to die to see him, he used to, be next to him all the time. He used to go to his house. It was a very close relationship that he had. Even though my mother never wanted me to come into this field, I never wanted to come into this field, but वो होता है ना life का एक circle वापस आपको वहीं ले आता है. My father had this belief always before he passed away that, I should be a stuntman, I should get into stunts because something that he couldn't achieve, he wanted me to achieve it. He wanted me to become an action director, which he couldn't become. So I think कुछ एक उनकी ख्वाहिश रह गई थी. I used to work for an IT company called TCS when I'd come to Mumbai.
Yeah, you must have heard of it, TCS. It's a small little company. Yeah.
So while working with TCS, I had given audition for a reality show called Roadies. I did the 7th season of Roadies. I went for the show, I did that show and I thought that this is something that is going to change my life. But after Roadies, things were not that good for me professionally. I was trying to give interviews in another companies and they were like, your show is coming on television. I'm sure you're not going to continue with our company anymore. Then is when I thought that, I should jump into this field. And then I remembered about what my father used to tell me. That, become a stuntman. You'll do good. I'm telling you, you'll do good. I don't know how this confidence he had. So that's how I got into this field.
So what was the first project that you did?
I think the first project that I did was a TV serial. I worked as a stunt double for the primary lead. My very first day on that particular show was, there was a gag where this hero, he fights with 6 or 7 of us. The assistant action director rehearsed, showed us the move that we are supposed to do. And as soon as I took the stance, he took me away. He told me that, you know what, this is your first day, so you rather sit and observe. Maybe tomorrow will be your day. And I was like, okay. I was a bit disheartened because it was my first day and I wanted to, perform and I wanted to show that, I'm capable enough.
But why do you think they did that?
I don't know. I think they didn't have confidence in me. It was a setback. I was like, was I right when I was not choosing this field? So very first day I had those doubts. The irony is that, the actor, he was as tall as me. The very next day, there was a stunt that the actor had to perform where he's going in a moving van and he had to jump off the moving van on the ground. It's not that the actor can't do, but the production won't allow, the director won't allow the actor to do it because of the safety reasons. That is when they chose me to be his stunt double. So the very next day when I was like on the floor, my confidence level was like, woo. That was a very nervous day for me because, of course, you can't practice all these things. You won't just pick up a van and you can practice कि हाँ भैया मुझे van से गिरना पड़ेगा तो कैसे गिरूंगा मैं. So there are so many things that you just do on set. You have never done in your life, but you just go ahead with your gut feeling. You just understand the physics a bit. And you just go for it.
But which is why that training is important.
Absolutely. I mean, the basic training, obviously, I did as soon as I got to know that I'm getting into stunts. The basic, martial arts training and how to fall, how to protect yourself, how to keep yourself safe.
And how does one learn that?
We used to go to the beach to practice. And that is a tradition that even now it's the same actually. Even so many actors, Akshay sir, Tiger Shroff, they have gone to the beach and learned so many things. That is the place where we go and train all the basics that we need. How to fall, how to break that fall, how to be safe. So I was pretty sure that, I'll be safe when I'll jump off the van. But there's always this nervous energy whenever you're doing something for the first time. I was so glad that I pulled it off, and the appreciation I got, the negative energy that I had in me, it all just went out, and I was like full of positivity that day.
Then you were like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. If somebody wants to be a stuntman, right? So let's just say that, what are the things that you think they should prepare, like from basic training to advanced training? Or let me put it this way: if you were to sort of pick a team, what attributes will you look for?
It's an elaborate field. I mean, हम लोग जब सुनते हैं stuntman word, तो automatically there is like you consider कि अरे ये बहुत risk लेता है. Like stuntman है, बहुत risky job है, बहुत risk लेता है. But
Insurance नहीं है, right?
हाँ, मतलब being a stuntman, it's not only about taking risks, but it's about how calculatively you do those stunts, how calculatively you take those risks. Basic training is absolutely a must. You should know how to fall. You should know how to break your fall. You should know how to save yourself when you're falling. And the most important thing, sir, is to make sure that the other person is safe. Apart from saving himself or herself, they need to train how to save the other person as well.
That's correct.
So when you're doing that fight practice, you can't throw and land punches on their faces. You just have to make sure that you are at least a feet away from the face. You have that eye contact with the other person, so that in case if the other person is throwing some other punch, all of a sudden, you are able to defend yourself.
Right.
I was very agile. If you are into gymnastics, it's a plus. If you are into judo, because there are so many falls that you do. Gym is very important. I'm not talking about gym, but maybe some sort of weight training, because you need to have those muscles to protect your bones. I stress upon doing a lot of hand-to-hand gags amongst themselves when they train together, because अभी के time पे hand-to-hand fights में जो style अच्छा होना चाहिए, that's very important.
What is your process of sort of making it seem like that it's the actor performing? Because it has to be convincing also, right? So how do you prepare for that?
There are certain things that you can't teach a stuntman. The stuntman will have to observe the actor, the mannerisms, the way the person walks, the way the actor walks, the way the actor runs, and even performance bit. I think it is something that you have to have in you. I mean, जब मैं देखता था ना मिस्टर बच्चन को fight करते हुए दीवार में, I mean, look at the way he used to carry himself, the sort of attitude he had. I mean, that sort of attitude and the way he used to throw his punches and all, with all his body and all, the style that he used to bring in. Look at Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, look at Bazigar. Look at the way he takes the punch. Yeah. Look at the way he reacts. Even now, if you'll throw a punch to him, the way he will react, you'll feel that, "Arey yaar, lag gaya isko." I stress upon these things whenever I'm doing something on my project. I tell them that I want performance. Fall, kharab bhi hoga, chalega. But the performance should be there. So we look at these core specifications, those skill sets, for sure. But I think the most important, apart from these skill sets, is the sort of proactiveness you can show on set. Taking the information, doing the same exact thing, or maybe enhancing it even further. That is something that impresses me a lot. Even when I was a stuntman, I was an assistant, I always used to make sure that I am proactive in my work. I was a team player. It was not only about my individual shot. When it came to helping others, as far as equipment is concerned, as far as crash mats are concerned, I never used to think कि यार नहीं crash mat नहीं उठाऊंगा या ये नहीं करूंगा, because that is all part of our profession. So if these small attributes are joined along with the greater skill that you have, I think you can be the top-notch stuntman, or you can be the top-notch stunt assistant, or you have the capability to become the action director.
Right. Give us an example of something that you did.
Okay, so there was one film which is very dear to me and which I will never forget, which we had a very good time on. The name of the film is Rocky Handsome. There is this gallery on the second floor. So we see Mr. John Abraham turning towards camera and running towards the gallery. And then there is a back shot where I am running towards the gallery and there is this glass window. I break that glass window. As I'm falling, the person switches to Mr. John Abraham.
Oh, okay.
So that is one seamless sort of a stunt that we did, we pulled off. So I was very fascinated by that particular shot. Great. Yeah.
Let's talk about Sunil Rodrigues.
Okay. So Mr. Sunil Rodrigues, he's an action director, well-known, very celebrated action director right now. So Sunil Rodrigues was working as an assistant at that time to Mr. Jai Singh Nijjar. He used to do all the action for Mr. Rohit Shetty.
Right.
So they called me for Bol Bachchan, and that was the first time I got to work with Sunil Rodrigues. Then he asked me to do Abhishek Bachchan's stunts also in that, and so that was like a legacy in itself. मतलब dad ने किया बच्चन साहब का, then I did for
बच्चन का ठेका
for मतलब AB Junior, and when AB Junior got to know, that was like a surprise for me. When I was on set, I never told him that I am, Manjeet's son. But someone told him, he was somewhere else. Someone told him that Manjeet's son is doing your stunts. He came all the way. He came, he hugged me and he said, "You are Manjeet Paji's son?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." He hugged me again and I can't forget that warmth that I felt. I can't forget that warmth. I was so surprised that Abhishek Bachchan knows my father. He was very young at that time. So he took a selfie, sent it to Mr. Bachchan. So that was a separate story altogether, which is like one of the best memories I've ever had on set. So yeah, I mean, Mr. Rodrigues has played a huge role in my development, in my...
How long did you work with Mr. Sunil Rodrigues?
So I started when he was an assistant for a couple of years. I worked with him in his team as when he was an assistant. But then he started.
So is it also like you have the main action director?
Action director, Mr. Jai Singh Nijjar, and then his assistant is Sunil Rodrigues.
Yes.
The hierarchy is, so there is a stuntman. Then the hierarchy goes to being an assistant action director. Right. So every action director has 2 assistants compulsory. But it depends in case if you have a contingency of like 100 stuntmen on set. So then an action director can choose like 4 or 5 stunt assistants also. He would rather delegate groups to different assistants. Ke, aap ye sambhalo, aap ye sambhalo.
So how does one become an action director?
You start working as a stuntman. So maybe stuntman for a couple of years and then you can become an assistant action director. As an assistant action director, the requirement is at least 7 years. It's something that the union can always be flexible about because they can judge how good an assistant that person is.
There is a union guideline also.
Yeah, there is a union guideline for sure. Once you become an action director, you can't step back. If you cancel your action director card, you become a stuntman, you can never become an action director again.
Oh, that is...
The reason what I feel is why they have kept this sort of a rule is because they don't want people to just come up and become an action director after working for like 4 years, 5 years, and then they don't know their job, and then they're putting so many people in risk.
Because people are at risk.
Yeah, so they want to make sure that the person goes through the hard grind, and then is when they understand that, that yes, this person has worked enough, this person is capable enough. That is when they give you a card. When I was becoming an action director, I was not ready for becoming an action director at the time when I became, because I just got a project all of a sudden. One of my assistant director friends, he called me up. He said that we are doing a project called Attack. Yeah, for Mr. John Abraham. I met the director and I was not prepared.
Right.
We just had a conversation, normal conversation, and I think he liked the sort of vibe that I had and the sort of thought process that I had. And when I went home and he was like, "You're on for the project." And I was like, "What? You're on for the project?" And I was like, "I'll have to become an action director for that." And he was like, "Yeah, so become, na." And I was like, "It's not that easy, bro."
Now let's dig into the whole processes. So now when you get a project, like all of these directors are very different. Like Rohit Shetty's sensibility is very different from the sensibility of, say, Nishikant Kamat or somebody else. So how do you approach it?
My approach always used to be, the action should be as per the narrative, what the director wants to portray, what the writer has written. We can always make it better, but it shouldn't sway away from what the narrative is, what the tone is of the particular project.
Right. The conversation that we're having, you mentioned Gardish and Jackie Shroff. What is the significance of that?
The beautiful thing about those sequences was the way they have created that character of Jackie Shroff in that film. He's a nerdy kid, he's intelligent and he's good in studies and everything. Due to some circumstances, he gets involved in a brawl, in a fight. And he ends up hitting that bad guy so much that the bad guy is in hospital. And then people start thinking of him as the Don of that area. Way the impact of that action choreography has happened is also natural. And it's like the amalgamation of the narrative, the character and the action sequence.
So you're saying it's a great blend.
It's a great blend.
It's an exciting action sequence, but he's still performing it within his character. Suddenly hero नहीं बन गया वो.
और वो ऐसा hero बनता है ना जिसको आप भी रूट करते हो कि अरे यार मैं होता तो शायद मैं भी यही
So
करता.
it doesn't look out of character.
It doesn't look out of character.
I feel sometimes like, oh great, it was nice, that backward flip and the kick and then the front roll was great. But then it's like,
what's the point?
Seemed really out of character.
Yeah, what's the point? Until or unless you have that core emotion or a proper reasoning behind it, and you can feel कि हाँ यार this character is capable enough to go to this extent. Only then the audience will root, and only then the action sequence will stand out. That is one thing which is like a primary thing for me. के the narrative is very important. The tone of the film, the tone of the project, the tone of the series is very important. So my approach as an action director for every sequence, first is when you are reading the script, you are visualizing a bit what the narrative says. Then you discuss it with your team. Then you tell the director that, you know, I'll make something and I'll show it to you.
Right.
I believe in, pre-visualizing and shooting things. So me and my team, we usually make a stunt whiz first.
Yeah.
We make that stunt whiz, present it to the director.
Yeah.
And then we get the director's input and we tweak things in either on location before the shoot.
Yeah.
Or maybe if we have time, we can just, tweak those things in and add those things in. Right.
So it's like short videos of that sequence is very roughly put together just to understand the length and the technicalities and how it's going to sort of be, the edit will come to.
Absolutely. Might as well just
How much
save it.
time do you get to prepare for a project? Say Saas, Bahu, Flamingo, how much time did you have pre-production?
I met the director couple of months before we started shooting. Then we had a tech recce, and after that tech recce, I started designing sequences.
Right.
I did my initial previs with my boys, and then I had requested them that give me at least couple of days on set as well. So I shot the whole previs on set as well.
Which is sometimes an additional cost, paying the dailies for
Absolutely.
showing there,
Absolutely.
and for the set, and like if
Absolutely. But eventually when you'll see, I'll give you an example of Kohrra.
Please do.
There is a climax sequence where this guy goes and tries to save his senior from a secluded house. So we asked them for 1 day of rehearsal for us and 1 day with the actor. We went there, we figured out our choreography, and on the shooting day we achieved it in like 2 or 3 hours. We saved so much time.
Was it planning?
Yeah, we don't have to do that exercise on set. You're saving so much energy of others as well.
Also, you get to know that because you are actually working with the actor, what they can do, what they can't do, and you can make those adjustments so that on the day of shoot, you're not wasting your time.
Absolutely. Those things, those exercises help eventually in the cost of a production.
Quickly, I'll put in one question as a person. How do you deal with over-enthused cutlet actors who want to do stunts, who are like, I'm always like scared of them. I'm like, don't be so enthusiastic. You're going to hurt somebody.
Yeah, I mean, you have to deal with all sort of people. There are people who are over-enthusiastic. There are people who have no energy at all. If a person is over-enthusiastic, then you might as well, try to channelize their energy towards the right thing.
Right.
There are some actors or some people, some performers who don't have the energy at all. And then you try to, motivate them. And sometimes even my boys or our team, they show the rehearsal in that sort of energy that we need. And automatically they try to bring themselves towards that same energy level.
Yeah.
So that's one way of dealing with them.
Now you've come to the location, you've done your previs, and you've discussed things with the production designer. And what happens next?
Once you're done with the pre-visualization, then you go to the location once before the shoot, and you try to fit in that choreography over there.
Right. Are you also simultaneously checking for your guys to like rig the place?
Yeah, I mean, in case if there is some heavy rigging involved, usually the rigging happens day or two before the shooting starts, so that we can figure out all the points, rigging points and stuff.
Rigging is basically all the steel structures are put in place, so you'll test it and how high it should be, how much do you need.
Any restrictions on set, in case if we want something to be removed, we can ask the production designer if we can do that. So that is the exercise that happens on set before the shoot.
Right. How involved are you in the shot making for your action sequences and the edit, of course?
In my field, it's all about the visual medium. I mean, this is something that I want to present in front of people that will showcase my skill as well.
So it's,
to everyone.
It's a clear understanding between the director, DOP and yourself that when it comes to action sequences, you are going to set the shots.
I mean, it depends what sort of a director you are dealing with. Sometimes there are directors like Anurag sir who gives total freedom to an action director and the DP. Sometimes so he just goes off set and he says that आप लोग कर लो, मैं आता हूँ बाद में. So that's the sort of thing he does sometimes to empower us. There are directors who oversee things all the time and who can always give their inputs in case if they find something that
they may feel that doesn't go with the
language
the sensibility or the film.
sensibility. Yeah, कि मतलब यहाँ पे थोड़ा liberty ले सकते हैं हम.
And how involved are action directors in the edit?
I mean, I've been on so many projects where I've been involved in the edit. There are so many things that we tell them to do which they might have overseen it.
Yeah.
Because we know the choreography, we know this particular beat is going to have more impact. I think you'll get some good inputs from the action director.
Right. So let's just imagine a sequence, right? And imagining a sequence where a person is on a bike, he has to do a jump on the bike, and there's firing, a lot of firing with weapons, with guns, all sorts of weapons, small arms as well as like rifles and AKs or machine gun. There's a blast happening, there's glass breaking also, and there is some explosion and fire. So what all different departments come into play over here? How does this come across?
So first we'll take it from the top.
Yeah.
Someone comes on the bike, jumps off the ramp.
Yeah.
Lands, and then firing happens. So bike itself is a special skill set. There is this vehicle department that comes into play. There is this bike specialist to do the jump.
So all the roll cages in terms of like other four-wheelers or something like that, they would have already built the roll cages.
Those roll cages are being built under the supervision of the stunt performer.
Oh.
That person needs to understand how long a bike ramp the person needs. As per action director, I can tell them that I want this much height. I don't want के बहुत ज़्यादा ऊपर जाए. With the help of the production designing team, they need to figure out the length of the ramp, the height of the ramp, nail it in the ground. So that is one aspect of it. Then the rigging team gets involved into the rigging of the person, that the person should jump off safely. And then there is this whole gun firing thing involved, which is the armorers department who supply guns and stuff and bullets and all that.
And these guns are all replicas.
Replicas, they have modified it. These are not actual guns. The shells also that they use, these are blanks.
And these also require licenses, right?
Absolutely. Whatever the squibs where the gunshot happens, either on the body or on the surface. So those squibs are done by the special effects team.
These days they do a lot of these things on post.
I mean, post is much more convenient now because you can do it multiple times.
And in post we enhance the sound and
shells and put the muzzle flash and all whatever we need in the post now. As far as the SFX department is concerned, that's a different department. But eventually, it's the action director who has the say in everything. It's like under his or her watch, every department comes.
What about like something that you have designed that other people have performed, and when you saw it, you were like, yeah, this is great.
So there was this show called Saas, Bahu or Flamingo.
Right.
That was a challenging project for me because in that show, the maximum amount of action choreography was involved with women.
With all
the leading ladies, they were involved in all the action choreography. So I was very kicked about it. The very first day when I came back from the meeting, I called up my assistants. I told them, guys, this is something very special. I don't know. I don't want to prove it to anyone, but I was just saying that, we have to give it our all to make sure that this comes out absolutely the way the director wants it or even further. So उसमें जो sequences किए हैं हमने, these brave women fighting with those guys who attack their haveli.
Right.
That's a brilliant sequence that these women pulled off. There is one scene where Radhika is on a sliding belt. Homie sir was like, "Yeah, can we do something here?" I just looked at my assistant ke rigging ho jayegi yahan. And they were like, yeah, they were pretty confident ke rig ho jayega. On this conveyor belt, she had to slide down while firing bullets towards the goons.
Right.
She was on a harness, but no matter what, there is that element of risk. And while performing, there were some blocks over there, jo the usme, which we had told her that she might have to be a bit careful about. Unka na pair atak gaya uspe.
Oh, three.
As soon as she got stuck over there, she fell off the slider and she hung on to the safety line that we had.
Thank God the safety line was there.
So there was the safety line, and I was so surprised that she didn't even shout, she didn't even say a word. And she was like, as soon as she fell down, she was like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And my heart was in my mouth and I was like, oh my God. Homie sir came in, I ran towards her and she was like, I'm okay, just pull me up. He just pulled her up and she went back. She did the stunt again.
This is great. Like, this is very brave and courageous of her.
Yeah,
I think she had confidence in you guys. What is that one thing, or like what are the things that you would like to change in your profession?
As far as the stunt department is concerned, when we are there to protect you, when we are there to take the hard falls, when we are there to do all the risky stuff, not because you can't do it, you can definitely do it, I'm sure, but we don't want you to do it. But then when it comes to the credit, you very politely say that everything is done by me and we didn't use stunt double at all.
actors also say
Which
this.
actually demotivates so many people. I mean, this is something that
I completely agree.
the
with you.
actors can definitely.
Many actors just take it for granted and they become so self-centered that they just become just blind to such things. This is
Absolutely.
what would you call an ideal set?
Ideal set. Okay. Yeah, I mean, where people respect your profession, people respect each and every individual, be it a spot boy or be it a HOD or be it an actor. The work environment is good. It's not like full of tension. Right? It should be like the mood should be good. The vibe should be positive. I mean, it shouldn't be like ki every other person is yelling. People try to motivate each other rather than, putting everyone down or pulling each other down. I'm talking about my department only. Maybe I have a crew of maybe 6 people, 6 stunt guys, and one of the guys not able to perform properly. And I shouldn't be the one who should be like shouting at the top of my voice, "Ke you don't know anything" and all that. It should be rather encouraging. Ke yeah, you're getting there. You can do better. This is what I'm thinking. You should do it like this. And that's how you motivate people. That's how people grow as well, rather than putting them down, putting more pressure on them. So that sort of work environment, that sort of a mood, I think it always helps to bring out the best in you. It's not about the job that I'm doing. It's about me being as an individual. I'm working here. Everyone is here to work and everyone is giving their all. And that's how it should be. And everyone should respect each other.
Thank you very much for talking to me. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And it's a pleasure being here. And I'm so happy that you are interviewing me.
I don't think I'm a very good interviewer. But
You are, right?
because he is saying something and I'm like suddenly I want to talk. I want to talk about something. No. This is not about you.
That is actor inside him comes out.
अरे हम इंटरव्यू देते हैं ना लेते नहीं हैं
Wait.